So welcome to our garage. Thought it was about time we gave an update as to where we're getting on, how we're getting on, sorry, with the Austin 7 restoration. You can see it in the background there. So let me give you a bit of a tour around, show you what we've done since our last visit here, and yeah, give you a bit of an idea of what we've been up to. So first of all, let's take a look over the car. So you can see we have wings on both sides, front and back, and we've got the running boards on as well. Now, these are actually new boards, which were purchased by the previous owner. I guess the previous boards would have too far gone to save, but yeah, they set it off quite nicely. We've still got the wiring in place ready. We've not actually made any wiring connections at all, so we've still got temporary wiring to run the engine, but that's all. The wires are there ready for us to put in place, and you can see we're starting to build the front end. Currently missing the front skirt between the two wings, but the previous owner is 100% sure it exists. Presume it's in his garage still, so we're waiting to find out there. It's certainly not amongst the bits we've got, unless we've misplaced it somewhere, but don't recall seeing it. Anyway, so the car's almost looking like a car, which means we've had some bad news with the original documentation. We can't find any previous logbooks, anything that links this car with its original number plate, unfortunately. So we're going to have to go down the route of getting an age-related plate for it. We've got no other options, but that's fine. It's what I was kind of expecting anyway when we first took on the project, so it confirms that now. So it's almost looking like a car, so I can almost take some pictures and send them off to the club, and they can do what they need to do to get us in the process for an age-related plate. So we've got the radiator, and you can see that actually it's sitting a little bit too high. We sat it on some rubber buffers. Turns out they're a bit too thick, so that's fine. That's my next job today, to take those rubber buffers off and put something thinner between the radiator mounting and the chassis where it mounts, or the bracket that runs off the chassis where it mounts. Let's have a look at the doors. We've just finished, finalised yesterday, hanging the doors. A little bit of a query with the hinge here. So the hinge fixes from the inside. There's a plate in there. I don't know if that shows up too well, but anyway, there's a plate inside. The hinge pokes through the bodywork, and then we bolt onto that through the door. Now we've got bolts there, 4 bolt holes, but there was nothing to fix them to, and as you can probably see there, getting a nut behind there was near on impossible. Getting a nut there wasn't, you know, it was close to being impossible, but wasn't completely impossible. But getting a washer and a nut was impossible. So we inquired around. It turns out somebody in our local group had 2 spare brackets. Basically, it's a plate of metal, 4 holes drilled in it, tapped to a thread, and then those plates go on the inside. Just about make out the plate in there potentially. So the plate goes on the inside of the door, and then you just bolt through from the outside, and it all pulls together quite nicely. So that was a good solution. Glad we spoke to that fella. We was going down the route of buying a sheet of metal to make our own plate and you know, tap a thread into it. It's all stuff that can be done, but to find some pre-made ones was awesome. So thank you, Denis Sweeney. Thank you for your help with that one. And we made up a nice bracket down the bottom there, or a nice big washer down the bottom there, just to spread the load. The bottom hinge there only fixes with 2 bolts, so don't want to put too much on a piece of wood there. That fixes too, so we wanted to spread the load there as best we can. So that's how we got on with the doors, and they shut reasonably well. A little bit of adjustment there to make, but they do shut reasonably well. Okay, so roof, still not started the roof, but we will. That's a job that worries me. Right then, so you can see the inside here of the wings. Actually, let's show you the fixings there. So you can see all these fixings all the way along there. We've got all those in, tightened up. The bracket lines up and over the top. That's what the headlamp fixes through as well. So that's all going to come together quite nicely. Finally found, actually, I bought some rubber washers to go underneath the headlamp so that the metal's not touching the metal of the wing. Yeah, try and protect these wings. They've been nicely sprayed. Don't want to mess them up as soon as I bolt something onto them. So right then, and the bonnet, of course, you can see that's our next job there. Just lowering the radiator. We've got the bonnet pieces around the other side here. They're all nicely sprayed up, protected at the moment, so we'll get those pins through those, get those on the car today as well, hopefully. And this is going to start looking like a car once we do that. And yeah, getting that front end on That's gonna make it look so much more like a car. Cool. Okay then, so that's our update for today. Let us know if you've got any tips for us to help us to get the next stages done. We're looking forward to getting the car on the road, getting it registered. An age-related plate will be a good start, and yeah, shame we can't get the original plate, but there you go. So let's get this next bit going, and let's hopefully get the car on the road soon. Follow the channel if you want to see how we get on.